Hello and welcome to my full show review of NXT TakeOver 31 that took place last night in the Capitol Wrestling Center. So, not exactly sure where that really was, but it was like a combination of using the Full Sail or the Performance Center with the wrestlers around ringside, and the Thunderdome. It had the screens behind as like a solid wall as opposed to sort of tiered backwards. So it was an interesting mix of the two. Speaking of interesting, the show kicked off with what I put was a weird professional wrestling video package about Vincent K. McMahon. I assume there's some link there between him and the Capitol Wrestling Center, but it was weird how much emphasis was being put on the professional wrestling, considering how that's a dirty word in WWE. And I know they always try and distinguish NXT, but NXT has never really been closer to looking like a third brand of WWE than it has been recently. And I'm not saying that as a criticism. Some people aren't happy with NXT at the moment. I still think it's really good wrestling product. But it's weird that now's the time to put the emphasis on that in that video package. I don't know. I noticed instead of the plexiglass, it had like a cage holding the fans away from the ring, like almost like a fence, if you like. But that was it was an interesting look. But let's get straight into the show, because that's what you guys are here for. I'm not trying to talk about cages and the arena. So we kicked things off with Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship. This was a good match. I mean, obviously it was a good match. The worst match that Johnny Gargano is capable of is a good match. Let's be perfectly honest. But no, this was definitely a really good match. And Priest held up his end of the bargain as well. It wasn't Gargano carrying anything. It was just an all-round enjoyable opening match. I knew, like, Pat. I was watching this match with Etch before she went to work this morning, because I didn't watch it live. I wanted to sleep. So I watched it this morning before she went to work. We were watching this match, and I said to her really early on, I said, I've made a bad prediction on this one. Priest's winning this. I don't think Gargano's winning this. But I made that prediction. I predicted Gargano to win, so I was wrong. Damian Priest picks up the win. If I remember rightly, it was kind of like a rope hung, whatever he calls the crossroads. I've totally forgotten what he calls it. My apologies, but it was like Gargano's legs were on the ropes when he hit that, which was really nice. They teased a spot with the steel steps, the base of the steps, which I might have looked away or something, but I didn't notice how those steps got into that position. But B, they didn't actually do the spot, which is weird. Usually, they don't waste motion like that. They don't tease a spot without it, set something up without it eventually coming into play. So I thought that was a bit strange. But one of the better moments in the match, I would say, was Priest leapt over the top rope to do like a somersault onto Johnny Gargano. A Tope Con Hilo, I think is the name of that particular outside dive. And missed. Well, I say missed. Johnny Gargano dodged it and pulled two security guys in the way, which were obviously Performance Center guys, dressed as security. Then while the referee was checking on them, he hit a low blow. He just kicked Priest between the legs. Then they got back in the ring. He hit a super kick with Priest on his knees. And honestly, at that point, I was like, oh, maybe I was right. I genuinely believed that would be a finish that would protect Priest, and they could move on from there. But no, Priest kicked out. They came back, and he picked up the win in the end. So I'm 0 for 1 from predictions. However, you'll have to take my word for it that before we were 5 minutes into the match, I'd changed my mind on that prediction. I even said to Etch, if I'd have recorded my predictions today, without having seen the show, if I'd have recorded them, I'd probably have picked Priest. I don't know. I'm not sure why I picked Gargano. I guess the reasoning was, how many opportunities are they going to have Gargano and LeRae challenging at the same time? So they've been going on and on about this holding both titles at the same time. Like, how many opportunities do they have to do that in one night? And I just thought it'd be a cool thing to do for that storyline and a good progression for those characters. But I was wrong. Oh well. So yeah, really good opening match. The match that I thought would open was up next. It was Kushida versus the Velveteen Dream. Kushida jumped Dream before the match. He didn't make his entrance properly. He just came out and jumped Velveteen Dream. With this new aggression that he's been showing, which I'm really into. I can really get behind it. And yes, before anyone says, I know all the controversy around Velveteen Dream, the fact of the matter is, he was in a match last night, whether you want him to be or not, whether you believe he's guilty or innocent. Personally, whether he's guilty or innocent, I don't think he should be featured at the moment. I think he should be off TV and keep that unnecessary heat off themselves. But it's not my decision at the end of the day. He was in a match, so I'm going to talk about it. It was a good match. Credit where it's due. It was a good match. Kushida got to show off this newfound aggression. Big time. Dream got some offense in, but overall it felt like Kushida was a bit much for him. He was working the arm for the entire match. The finish came. I actually wrote this one down, complete with names. So he had the hoverboard locked in, and Dream actually picked him up out of it and hit a Dream Valley Driver, the Death Valley Driver where he kind of rolls through across them, like almost like a no-handed cartwheel, using his shoulders to cartwheel through. But Kushida somehow held on to the hoverboard lock and re-locked it in, and Dream tapped immediately. It was a really nice finish. I really liked that, because at the point where Dream did the Dream Valley Driver and broke out, I didn't see that being the finish. I saw them going another couple of minutes, but then suddenly it was like, bam, he's locked it in again, finish. And I enjoyed that. I predicted Kushida to win, so I'm 1 out of 2. And Kushida attacked after the match, showing off this aggression that he's got now, and beating the hell out of Dream after the match. And in my opinion, I actually wrote down, writing him off. It's the right thing to do at the moment, is to keep him off TV until you either establish that he's guilty of what he's been accused of and get rid, or you establish without any doubt, and that's, by the way, caveat, establish without any doubt that he's guilty and get rid, or you establish without any doubt that he's innocent, and that can be demonstrated, not by WWE, but by Dream and by wrestling news outlets and yada yada yada. So that can be demonstrated that he's innocent, so that this reputation subsides, and then you can bring him back. But in my opinion, he shouldn't be on TV at the moment. So writing him off, which is what that attack felt like, is a good move in my opinion. Then they announced NXT Halloween Havoc. So really going all in with these old school names at the moment. We've had In Your House. A few years ago, they brought back War Games. Then we have, was it Bash at the Beach? Great American Bash, it was. Great American Bash, not Bash at the Beach. So, they're going in with the old school appeal on NXT. The opening video package showed that as well, featuring Vincent K. McMahon. No, Vincent K. McMahon is current Vince. Vincent J. McMahon was who they featured. Sorry, I said that wrong at the start. I'm sure it said K on the screen as well. Maybe the quote was from Vincent K. McMahon, but the featured footage was J. McMahon, right? Anyway, whatever. I'm getting caught up in the weeds here. Yeah, Halloween Havoc. It's only going to be a weekly show, though, like a weekly special, which is kind of cool, but Halloween falls on a Saturday. They could have put on a special. TakeOver traditionally it always was on Saturdays. I don't know. I kind of wish they would have done that. And I know that... Well, no, that's not... It's a bit soon. It's 4 weeks away or something, but... that's not too soon. I know NXT doesn't have that frequent of a shows, but at the moment, they're pulling out all the stops to try and get one over on AEW. I would build to another special show there, personally, but they've probably got something planned for Survivor Series weekend and don't want to, flood the takeovers. But I don't know, just the fact that Halloween falls on a Saturday, and takeovers have traditionally always fallen on Saturdays until recently, until the pandemic, basically. I would say put it on a Saturday, but whatever. Still excited to see what they do with the set there and how cool that looks. Just a shame that it's not falling on Halloween itself. Anyway, next, the Cruiserweight Championship match. Isaiah Swerve Scott challenging Santos Escobar. Now, this was the first time I wrote it down. I think the second time I noticed. Beth Phoenix looked different at ringside. I actually wrote down Beth with red hair, question mark, and I googled it after the show, and no, she has not dyed her hair red. I actually found out from Twitter, it's a stand-in. They had some wrestler. Beth was obviously somewhere remote recording commentary, and so was Wade Barrett. I never noticed though, because they had a white guy with dark hair where Wade Barrett should be, so I never really noticed that it wasn't them. But yeah, they didn't even get like a blonde to sub in at the announce desk for Beth Phoenix to sit there and pretend to be her. They didn't even give the girl, who's a wrestler, I can't remember what her name was, but I think she's a performance center trainee, they didn't even give her a blonde wig to put on. So it was blatantly, obviously not Beth Phoenix. But whatever, I don't know. I personally would just have picked a blonde girl or given a girl a blonde wig. I don't know. Or put the announce table somewhere else. So you can't see it. Just have there wasn't an announce table spot in the show, I don't believe. So just have the match without the show without an announce table at ringside. Have it somewhere else. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, it's just I wrote it down at this point. On with the cruiserweight title match. So it was a good back and forth match. Everyone expected it to be. Wade Barrett was really getting on Scott's case for changing his game plan up when he's already beaten Escobar twice using his usual game plan, which was a good point, well made, and actually turned out to be true because Escobar ended up retaining. So, after quite a lot of the match, Legado del Fantasma interfered, and I think they called him Ashotzi Diodonis. I don't know who this guy is, but he came out to kind of even the odds and help Scott out. So that was interesting. I'm not familiar with him, and I do tend to watch NXT unless he's on 205 because I don't watch 205 live. So unless he features more on there or something. But I didn't know who he was. Swerve kicked out of the Phantom Driver, which was probably a bit of a surprise. And then Escobar a little bit later went for the Three Amigos, but then missed a frog splash. And then Scott did his old school's arm snap spot, which just looks and sounds horrific. It's great. It's so good. Then he hit the house call and then a 450, but only got a 2. There was like a bit of an awkward altercation on the apron. Both men were on the apron and they were kind of jockeying for position, but I feel like it was deliberately awkward because then Swerve seemed to stumble backwards and bang his head on the post, but that part of the spot was obviously pre-planned as being part of the finish of the match, but the bit that preceded it made you doubt it, which was really clever. It made it seem like it could have been a genuine accident. And then Escobar hooked him up in a double underhook and hit what I can only describe as a lifting double underhook go to sleep. Because he brought him back down face first and hit the uplifting knee to the face, which is how the go to sleep hits. They'll have a name for it soon, I'm sure, because he put him away with it, so it's obviously a new finisher. But it was a really cool move. I liked it. So it was like, he hooked him up like a double underhook suplex. If you didn't watch the show, try and picture it. He lifted him up as if he was going to go over, but then dropped him back down the way he came, but lifted his knee up into the jaw. It was a really cool move. And that got the 3. I predicted Escobar to retain, so I went 2 out of 3 in predictions, which, if it's good enough for Meatloaf, it's good enough for me. Next up was a book change. There we go, I've done it. I had to change books because that was the point where I paused for a little bit and did some other work and then came back to the show. And when I came back to the show, my cat was sat on my notebook, and I won't disturb my cat for nobody. There's a picture on my Instagram, link in the description of that if you like cats. And he's tagged, so you'll be able to go and find his Instagram as well. Give him a follow. He's more over than I am, I think. So yeah, he was sat on my notebook, so now new notebook. And the 4th match was the Women's Championship. Io Shirai defending against Candice LeRae. Really good match. I don't know what anyone expected from these two. I wasn't surprised it was a really good match. The start felt a little awkward, but they got into the stride and really got going, and it was really good. They were telling the story of maybe Io being a bit overconfident early on, which was fun. But I like the depth that characters get to have in this pandemic era without a clear need for a babyface and heel dynamic, because there's no real paying customers in attendance to give them someone to cheer and someone to boo. Io Shirai is basically still her heel gimmick, but she's the face. And she's still got the cockiness of her heel gimmick and the ruthlessness. I like it. I like a bit more depth in all the characters. I think WWE at this point should I know they claim to have but they clearly haven't. I think they should basically get rid of the face-heel divide and just have characters. Characters with multi-dimensions, you know, you either decide to cheer or decide to boo. I would like that very much. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. Might be controversial. I think getting rid of the divide would be awesome. Anyway, there was a double ref bump. So the ref, Candice LeRae had Io Shirai in the Gargano escape. Io got the ropes and Candice held on, and the referee was like, hey, come on, let go, and counts her, and then she lets go like aggressively and bumps back into the ref and knocks him flying. But there's no sort of foul play comes of that, but the referee's still sort of trying to recover. Io Shirai gains the upper hand, goes for the moonsault. Candice gets her knees up, and Io Shirai kind of bounces off and stumbles and takes the ref completely out. And that, considering how rough it looked, as in it didn't look choreographed, it looked legit. It looked stumbly, it looked clumsy, but it was supposed to. It was so well done. Io Shirai is so good, and Candice LeRae, but let's be honest, all she had to do was lift her knees in this. Io Shirai carried the spot. She's so good. She's so damn good, guys. Just moments like that, so good. So she takes out the ref. Johnny Gargano comes down putting on a ref shirt, which was amazing. Does a fast count for, I can't remember what Candice had hit. Oh, she'd hit that move where she like hooks up Io into a surfboard, but then stamps on the back of her head and stamps her face first into the mat. Johnny obviously does a fast count for his wife, but Io still kicks out. So they carry on going back and forth. The referee gets up. He starts arguing with Johnny Gargano. Oh, Johnny goes and gets the NXT title, I should mention, the women's title, and he's like, it's my wife's anyway, give it me, and goes into the ring, but the referee's up, the regular ref by that point, so he starts arguing with Johnny. Johnny drops the title, and sort of coaxes the referee over to the corner of the ring. Referee's telling him, get that shirt off, you're not a referee, kind of thing, and then, because he's got his back turned, Candice hits Shirai with the title, and then Johnny takes the shirt off, says, hey, look, she's pinning her, and, but only gets a 2. So, my prediction, still not coming true. And I was feeling more confident about this one than the Priest-Gargano one, funnily enough. The Priest-Gargano one, I was convinced I was wrong. This one, I was like, going back and forth with myself, like, well, maybe they just do one of them and put the focal point of that relationship on Candice LeRae for now. But then I was also thinking, it is soon. And the go-home show, both of them held the titles. Like, that's never a good sign. If you go out that strong on the go-home show, you're losing. I should have predicted based on that, to be honest. But I didn't. The finish was nice. Candice LeRae was up on top. Io Shirai came up, hit an avalanche Spanish fly, and went straight back up and hit the moonsault. Candice had to adjust herself a bit position-wise for the moonsault, but you allow that. That's fine. Just look past that. And then Io Shirai got the 3 off that and put me 2 and 4 on predictions. But realistically, I don't know why I made the 2 predictions that I got wrong. I should be 4 from 4 on this show, so my bad. Then, with Io Shirai celebrating, having retained her Women's Championship, Toni Storm appeared on the video screen, which was cool. Put the whole NXT Women's roster on notice, especially Io Shirai. She's back. Cool. I'm okay with that. I'm behind that. Absolutely. And then Ember Moon rocked up. The mystery person, the mystery former champion coming back to reclaim what's theirs, was Ember Moon. I don't believe for a minute she rode the motorbike in. Maybe she did. But the way it was sort of cut, they've done scenes like that before, and they'll follow it all the way through the backstage area and out to the front, out to the entrance ramp. If it's legitimately them riding the bike, you don't need a cut. So it's only the editing that makes me suspicious that wasn't real. That wasn't really Ember Moon. But Ember Moon came out onto the stage, took the helmet off that she'd been riding on the bike, or whoever had been riding the bike had been wearing. And 2 big deals just instantly coming back. Toni Storm and Ember Moon. I'm so glad Ember Moon is finally back from injury. And I'm so glad she's back in NXT, because she was getting a raw shake of things on the main roster, no pun intended. Got a raw deal, and I'm glad she's back in NXT. And really looking forward. And the funny thing is, at the end of the Shirai-LeRae match, I was thinking to myself, I was there thinking, Shirai's beat Shotzi, she's beat Dakota Kai, she's beat Rhea, she's beat Candice. She beat Charlotte Flair. Like, I know Charlotte's not about at the moment, but, like, she's kind of running out of challenges a bit here. You know, I was genuinely thinking that. I was like, who are they going to do? Tegan Nox is out injured again, unfortunately. Poor Tegan. You know, I was like, I think she's beat Tegan anyway. I was like, who are they going with? Like, there's Mercedes Martinez, she's not come across. I think she's going to be the one to take the title off her. But then again, you've now got Toni Storm and Ember Moon, so either of them could take the title off her as well. I don't know. But yeah, it certainly boosts the women's division. The women's division in NXT is super strong, but currently, the current champion has kind of beat everyone, like, near enough. So that was the concern, was do you start recycling the matches, or I can beat you this time? But no, they don't need to now. They've got a few more challenges, so pleased with that, and just generally really happy to see Emma Moon back. Next, we had an interview with that Ashanti Diodonis. Yeah, Diodonis. I'm not sure I understood that interview. From the perspective of he's just attacked heels and saved the babyface, when he was very arrogant and came across to me quite heelish in that interview. So I don't know. I don't quite follow that. I mean, maybe it was supposed to throw a bit of shade at Swerve, and they're gonna have a little bit of a program. No, I don't know. I didn't fully comprehend what that interview was supposed to achieve. But oh well. I don't even know who the guy is, so I'm not going to waste too much time and waste any sleep and lose any sleep over that. Main event: Finn Balor defending the NXT Championship against Kyle O'Reilly. This was an excellent match. This match was awesome, like really good, genuinely so good. I can't tell if Kyle O'Reilly is the best seller in the history of wrestling, or if he was really hurt by that kick. That kick, it looked like it landed really flush. There was a drop kick early on as well that landed really flush on his face. These two were working snug. There was a lot of shots in this that really connected. Really, it added to the feel of the match big time. It made it feel legit. It made it feel important. You know, it made you feel the match. It made, you know, and Kyle O'Reilly, like, sold their hell, probably because it was real, out of that injury to his, they kept talking about his liver. I don't know if it was his liver, or if he got a cracked rib, or if he just got, I mean, I don't care how in condition you are, and you can have your six-pack and what have you, like Finn Balor. If you get properly booted in the stomach, no amount of six-pack saving you. Like, that's a heavy hit, you know. But yeah, despite that potentially genuine injury, they still had just an excellent match. They kept the pace. It was fast-paced where it needed to be, but they generally kept the pace slow. They sold. They had psychology in there. It was amazing. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. One of the best NXT TakeOver main events. Period. Unpopular opinion. One of the best. Genuinely, such a good match. The finish came with a coup de grace. I predicted Finn to retain. Unfortunately, I wanted Kyle O'Reilly to win, but I couldn't predict that. I think a lot of people would have been really happy with a Kyle O'Reilly win there. But Finn won. You know, he's got to retain in his first defence. It's Finn Balor, for God's sake. I feel like Finn's holding on to the title until Karrion Kross is ready to come back and take it off him. I really do. There was a post-match show of respect. Kyle O'Reilly was still down. Pretty much only just came round and realised what's going on. He could hear Finn's music and he's looking up disappointed and what have you. And Finn Balor hobbles over to him because he's selling the leg, because Kyle O'Reilly was working the leg. He picked him up, he offered his hand, Kyle O'Reilly took it, and Finn Balor pulled him up to his feet, and they're sharing a handshake and a few words, and then Ridge Holland walks out with through the crowd with Adam Cole over his shoulder, unconscious, and just tips him onto the arena floor, and then walks off through the crowd, and I was like, okay. Then Undisputed Era, the other two, because two of them are already out there, Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish, came running out and were like, hey, what happened? Da, 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 da. Now, a lot of people, myself included, have been predicting the Undisputed Era breakup for a while now. It just feels like they're growing apart. It feels like Strong and Fish are heel and O'Reilly and Cole are face, for starters. It really does feel like that. So that would make Ridge Holland heel, I guess, now, without really any explanation. probably from dropping Gargano on his head. Johnny might be a heel, but he's the NXT universe's darling. Like, you drop him on his head and that's it, you're a heel. You're hated. So turning him heel, probably wise. But yeah, so the suspicion, let's go among us here. Strong and Fish, sus. Right? They're sus right now. They're like, they were all together. How did Ridge Holland manage to attack Adam Cole and beat him down to the extent that he was unconscious and carry him out to the arena? And what was Strong and Fish doing? Was he so engrossed in Kyle O'Reilly's match that they didn't hear it and didn't look round from the monitor in the back? Like, what? I don't know. They sus. They sus here, guys. They are sus. They seemed pretty upset, but, acting. So I think they're not going to... Because I was like, they could have Kyle O'Reilly win the belt and Evolution him. How Evolution got rid of Orton once he won the belt and turned against him. They could have Undisputed Era cost him the title. But I think more likely we're going to see a bit of a civil war with Fish and Strong against Cole and O'Reilly coming. Because I feel like Fish and Strong had to be involved in Ridge Holland attacking Adam Cole. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this story plays out. Let me know what you thought of the show, what you think will happen going forwards, all that fun stuff. Anything I've said, address it in the comments. Greatly appreciate any comments. I love getting the interactivity going. So let me know what you thought. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and share with your friends if you think they would enjoy. Also, check the description for links to my other channels. Also, you can find my social media and my Patreon down there, where you can support me for just $1 per calendar month. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been Ibeza, you've been amazing, and I'll see you next time.